DJ Fades with the New Age FM podcast, and I'm on the chat with the YouTuber for Against the Current. How's things?
Hey, hello. Hey, I'm Eli from Against the Currant Chosen podcast. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on, Tim.
Yeah, no problem. So, what can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
About me, I'm a huge fan of the Against the Currant Chosen podcast. I believe it's the biggest podcast about the Chosen, but I think it's also, the first. So I try not to brag about it too much, but I enjoy pop culture. I enjoy movies. I enjoy nerdy stuff. I love stuff to geek out about. I didn't fit in school, so I decided that I would go to the internet and decide to talk to strangers about things that I like. So I enjoy, Star Wars, Marvel, all the usual pop culture things, all the most popular, just big blockbuster action. If it's, directed at teenagers or, younger children, then I like it probably. Animation and at Disney, anything, anything that's nerdy and I love to talk about. So The Chosen has really been a huge part of my life because it was unlike other Bible TV shows where it gave me something to nerd out about more, and I really, and I can nerd out about the Bible, obviously. But The Chosen, it had references and details and stuff. So it wasn't doing all the work for me. As an audience member, you get to put a few more of the pieces together yourself. So you get to do a little bit more thinking, and it's just been a great. That's what I latched onto The Chosen for, was just my love of movies and pop culture, and The Chosen was just kind of the making it cool for Bible kids in school, and so that's really where my I just love movies and pop culture, and I love The Chosen because it's the best of movies and pop culture. And me as a Christian, also being raised in a Christian household and being an avid churchgoer, it was just the best of both worlds. So that's why I created Against the Currant Youtube podcast, because I've created content for years. I just love creating content. So I started the podcast about The Chosen because I just wanted to talk about it so much. So I started the podcast just as an outlet to express my love of The Chosen and pop culture, and so that's a little bit about me. Just a little bit, though,
Nice.
not too.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool actually. I'm sort of the same. Sort of been pretty much like an outcast from school because they didn't really like me much. So I thought I'm into the same as you, just comic books and cartoons, animation, Marvel, a little bit of DC, but I'm more Marvel than DC, and also Star Wars. As you can see, Star Wars. So,
yeah, that's cool.
So that's what I always love. Star Wars and is pretty much, it's just got the embodiment of Christianity as well. It's got the Holy Spirit, which can be like the Force, guiding us through in places and in our road to life. So and the same, I think there was I had like a little pamphlet that was on about Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, and it was a Christian booklet, little small pamphlet. It was about how George Lucas entwined his religion with the movie as well. So as well as like the midi-chlorians and everything else.
Yeah.
Or as they call it on Disney Plus shows, they call it the M count, which is I guess it's a way to sort of shorten the word, but they just don't want to do much of George Lucas's work. But but yeah, no, it's actually really good, and it's also the other movies I love, Lord of the Rings and the Narnia movie as well, because of course both written by Christian scholars, but also I think philosophers or scholars, but also professors, I think. but also it's based on Christianity as well. So like the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and the Fellowship and all that. It's all entwined with like old school war to the medieval sort of stuff as well as Christianity. So it's really good. As far as I'm aware, the way that I look at other cultures is that Christianity is the root of those offshoots of different religions, and they just perceive God as a different being, or that's how they do it. So, as far as I'm aware, all religions point to one God and one Son as well, as well as the Holy Spirit. So it's that's the way I see things anyway. But,
I think because that's how J.R.R. Tolkien, I believe, convinced C.S. Lewis to become a Christian, right? It was because there's this, as the story goes, J.R.R. Tolkien, he was talking to C.S. Lewis and he said, well, you like to write because C.S. Lewis was an atheist, I believe, before. I believe like his mother died or something, so he didn't believe in God. And J.R.R. Tolkien was talking with him one time, and he said, these stories that you love to write, like in my opinion, they all originated from the one true story from mythology, which is the story of Jesus Christ and the story of God and creating the earth and Jesus being sent to repay us for our sin, save us from our sins, dying on the cross, taking all of our sin upon him. So that's how C.S. Lewis came to Christianity, was by realizing that, wow, these stories that we love to tell and these like the human expression of creativity maybe all comes from the one true story, which is the story of Jesus Christ. So I think your opinions on these stories pointing to God is well supported by a few other people as well. So
it's definitely I think at a while, like a long time ago, it probably would have been a very touchy subject, but these days you sort of can put I think there was an Indian movie where he looked at like the Quran and the Bible, and I think there was the Jewish Bible as well, and then they all interlock into the same God, the same being, the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. So that's why I just think they're just being perceived as different gods from the other religions, but they just are the one true God. So yeah, that's the way I see things. But everyone's perception is different, and you can't really do much about that.
yeah. I think that's a beautiful. So because if everyone had the same belief, I think the planet would be pretty boring. Yeah. Let everyone
that's
is
really
free to
true.
believe differently. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely believe that as well. Yeah, that's very true. So who got you into Christianity? Was it your family, or were you born and raised in a Christian family? Or?
It was my parents. So I was like, from a very early age, my parents made it a point to try to teach me, the Bible, teach me the gospel, not just teach me, just tell me what they believed and make it to, oh, well, I want to please my parents, so I'll just go with whatever they say. But also, make sure that I understood that it was a decision that I had to make for myself. I didn't get baptized until this past summer after having been claiming to be a Christian for 8 years. I'm 16 now. I profess that I became a Christian when I was 8. So I didn't get baptized until I was 16 because, my parents wanted to make sure that it was a decision that was mine and that I was sure what I believed and what I was claiming to be a part of, and that I really understood the true gospel, that, I am a hopeless sinner who has fallen short of the glory of God, and I have no other hope than Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for my sins, and they want to make sure that that was something that I understood fully, and something that I really believed, and not just was projecting off of what they believed. So from a very early age, it was my parents who really got me into Christianity, and I really don't see any other explanation for a lot of things. So I believe it makes sense to me, So I believe it's really something. Christianity is it's the one way to heaven, and Jesus is the one way to heaven. He is the way, the truth, and the life, as he himself claims. So it was to answer your question, short answer, my parents. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's the same with me. My parents got me into Christianity. They took us to church, and I got christened when I was a baby. So I got christened, and then when I got to my teenage years, got baptized, and as we all do, we tend to sort of have a few faults and flaws, and we tend to fall and stumble along the way. But that's the part of life, and being able to get closer to God and to Jesus. So, as for me, music has been a crucial part of my life, but it's also because I was born and raised in a musical family. So,
That's cool.
Christian music. I think the olden Christian music was the church, like the old church music was sort of not really my. It was good at the time, but then as I sort of grew out of that sort of type of music, the way that it's composed and that. So I went to like another church that was doing like singing songs like from Planet Shakers to Julia Grace to the POD and all those sorts of music. So that's the sort of music I'm into the new generation, new style sort of Christian music. But but also movies was also another thing as well that sort of got me even more closer to Jesus by watching the Passion of Christ. That was a very very truth-telling movie, and also the The Chosen as well. But there's other Christian ones as well, like the Prince of Egypt. That was an animation.
Yeah.
So there's been a whole lot of there's a lot of Christian cartoons. Oh, also VeggieTales. That was really fun.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. So those were sort of my path to getting close to God, but also Star Wars as well, and Lord of the Rings and the Narnia movie as well. So, which is actually a funny story. I got to be in the Narnia movie as a fawn, like Mr. Tumnus. So got to be an extra in that, as well as an extra in the Lord of the Rings movies as well. So.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Just being an extra, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, as you know, you've been in the Chosen TV show as an extra as well. So it's a lot of fun being able to. It's not the money. It's being able to get to know other people, to see how they interact and everything, and actors and actresses are all just normal people. They just want to be accepted as just everyone else, rather than people fangirling or fanboying over all the actual actors and actresses. So I just treat like when I was hanging around Billy Boyd and Dominic McGonaghan, who played Marion Pippin. I was just talking to them normally, and the same with William Moseley, who played Peter. I was actually sitting across the table from having lunch while we were waiting, and I didn't know who he was from above. So I just talked to him and just was like, "Oh, so what are you doing in this movie?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm an actor." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then we got into the whole point of talking about our ancestors and how it was a lot of fun. We got to chat about everything. I even got to chat with the what was his name? The guy who played the sidekick of the White Witch in Narnia.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's slipping off. Isn't he an Ewok in Star Wars as well, wasn't he? Warwick Warwick Davis, is that who you're talking about?
Not Warwick Davis, but he was. I think he's been in Star Wars as well. But I think he's passed away. I'm not too sure. But as far as I'm aware, I think he has. He also played one of the Oompa Loompas in Johnny Depp's Chocolate Factory.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. I think.
But yeah, as far as I'm aware, I think he has passed away. So I got to meet him before he passed on. But
so then Lord of the Rings and in Narnia, are you on screen like that? Did you make it on screen at all in any of the extra roles that you did?
Yeah, I did actually. Actually, there's I actually do have a couple of photos. There was one. The one that I have mainly is the Narnia. Me being in Narnia, that was a lot of fun. It's on my phone somewhere. But yeah, it's a really good. It's a really good. Just trying to look through as fast as I can. Oh, I know where it is. Just have to go up further. But yeah, it's really good. A lot of fun. I was in the Aslan camp, and we had to bow down to Aslan when he came out of the tent. He's CGI, but it was a lot of fun. We didn't get to have Liam Neeson doing the voice. He did the voiceover later on when the movie was getting made. So that was I think that was like a post production. I think he actually did that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to be with him and I got to meet Andrew Adamson, who was the producer. He also produced Shrek, the Shrek movie, the first one. I think he was first and second one, I think, actually, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I can't find the photos for license. I'll send it through to you later. But yeah, I was in the as Andrew Peter puts up his sword and says he's looking for wanting to see Aslan. Everyone starts to bow down, and just before you, like one split second, right at the end of that camera, I'm right on the closest on the left side, closest to the camera. So
wow.
You can see my back, so I know that it was me because I could see the camera going straight down. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And
that's awesome.
And I was in the I was a Hobbit and an orc in the first movie. I was a Rohirrim rider and also a refugee in the second movie of the Lord of the Rings, and I was a human in the final battle, and that was actually filmed near Mount Cook, but they also did some of the shots in the Mount Cook is in the Central Otago, central South Island of New Zealand, and
right, yeah, because all of it was filmed in New Zealand, and you're right there in Australia. So so that makes I was like, all that makes total sense now. Why you're in Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, because you're right. They filmed it all right there. You live in Middle Earth.
Yeah, in New Zealand. Yeah, so yeah, living in Middle Earth. Yeah, exactly. Had the Narnia. Only Narnia movie was the first one that got shot over here. The other two were filmed over in the UK, which is a bit of a shame, but For you, so that's all right. I think they also did some pickup shots over here as well, but
Oh wow.
mainly the second, most of the second movie was in the thing, so over in the UK. So yeah. So what are you most apart from the Chosen TV show? What are you into certain music, like Christian music or non-Christian or?
Music. I mean, I fluctuate. I don't really, come to think of it, listen to a lot of new Christian music. I really don't keep up with it a lot. Lately I listen to a lot of country. Um, Personally, I love. I mean, I love music in general. I am a music person. You know, I do like to sing. I don't sing like in choir or like record myself singing, but in the
Yeah.
shower, I mean, you know, I
Oh,
I
as we
could
all do.
I could perform,
Yeah.
and so I like every really. There's not a genre that I don't like actually. Come to think of it, I am a I like everything. I like there's rap that I like. There's pop music that I like. I mean, it's all. I like a lot of movie. I'm very particular about movie soundtracks as well. Something that I pay attention to a lot, musical scores and movies as well. So I mean, everything. Yeah, I just don't. I really actually don't listen to a whole lot of Christian music. I listen to the hymns, personally. If I'm in the mood for Christian
Yeah.
music, I do actually like, you know, the I am like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I really do
Yeah.
like the and in church, we sing a lot of the older. We sing some new songs as well, and there's some that I like, but. I listen to Christian music sometimes too. I do like some stuff that comes out nowadays. There's some that'll be trending or something, and I'll catch wind of it, and I'll be, oh, that's pretty good. But yeah, there's really not a genre that I don't like. I am a very musical person. I don't know about very musical person, but I am a musical person. That's something that is a part of my life, and I do care about. So I
Oh,
like
nice.
a lot of music.
Yeah. 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 Music for me is, well, as I told you, it's a big part of my life. But I think it is another way of for all religions and even all languages to be able to just have music as that the interconnect to connect us all together.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
there are lots of Christian Christians who are in bands and groups as well. For me, I do love listening to the old hymns. There are old hymns that are like Open My Heart, being one, King of Kings, Shout to the Lord. I'm just trying to think. There are a few. My Redeemer Lives. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
there are
yeah.
lots of other good songs. But mainly these days I listen to Hull City, who is actually Adam Young,
Ah,
who's
are
a
they
who's,
doing Christian music?
he's a Christian himself, but yeah, he has done a fair bit of Christian music, Christian
Wow,
songs, I
that's
should
cool.
say. He did one with Aloe Black. He also did his own rendition of um, forward. Yeah, I can't remember. And Christ Alone. So he's done that. He's done some other songs as well. Uh,
That is very cool. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's cool.
and he's done a song with a guy called Micaiah, who's he's an Australian Christian singer, and he did a song with a collaboration with him called "Let the Light In," which is actually a Christian song as well. So there are some really
Wow.
good songs. Even "Grip" with "My Life Be Like," which is a song that they played on Tokyo Drift. If you've probably seen any of the Fast
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Furious.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
movies. Yeah, so they're actually a Christian group as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good Christian music and there are some good rappers as well who are Christians. If I'm naming a couple would be Toby Mac and also a guy called T Rock, who is oh no, so not T Rock, Rapture Ruckus. Sorry. So Rapture Ruckus is a New Zealand Christian singer, rapper, I should say, but he's now living over in America, somewhere in
Nice.
America. I'm not too sure, but yeah, he's a good friend. I got to meet him at a Christian festival over here called Parachute. So there are some really good Christian singers.
Wow.
Got to meet Delirious. Who else did I get to meet? Yeah, I got to meet some pretty well-known Christian singers from America as well as New Zealand and parts of the world as well. So the lyrics were really cool. They were good people to talk to, and also Planet Shakers. I think it was I don't think of the. I think yeah, Delirious was the one that did the Narnia song Turkish Delight, which was a good song. Um, and also uh, I lost his name again. Toby Mac did the rap for Narnia. So that was
Yeah.
a good song. Um, so yeah, so there's a lot of good songs that I listen to, but yeah, those are just naming a few anyway. So yeah, so um, are there any Christian any Bible verses that you tend to read often, or which are your sort of your favorite ones that you like reading?
One other thing about recently, because of I know this is going to be in the Chosen season 4, so that was this is one that I've been thinking about recently that I really enjoy. Is probably Consider the Lilies of the Field, the one I can't remember the exact wording off the top of my head right now, but the Consider the Lilies of the Field, how God provides for them, the basic idea, how God provides for them, how God clothes them. He takes care of the flowers in the field. How much more would he take care of you? I believe that's how it goes. So that's the main idea. So that's just one that's stuck out to me recently. Just Jesus, walking and talking with his disciples, and I'm excited to see that scene in The Chosen. I forget the context of that scene, but I remember just recently it's been that's one I've been thinking about and holding dear, holding close recently is. I just think that's a great verse. I think it's a great illustration from Jesus, because we were talking about the stories, the creativity and stuff, and Jesus. This I came really. I heard someone mention this the other day, and I thought it was great. Great point is that the human ability to tell stories and the desire to create and inspire and draw emotion out of people by telling stories is really something that started from Jesus, right? Like he wouldn't just state his message and like preach it a lot of times. He did a lot of preaching his message directly, but a lot of times he would tell parables, right? He would tell stories, and
Yeah,
then his disciples would be even discussing amongst themselves, and they couldn't figure it out. They didn't understand exactly what he was trying to say a lot of times even, um, and he just mainly was he was preaching. He told a story that encapsulated his message, and the message was told through the actions of the characters in the story, and the message is left up to you to put the pieces together yourself based on what happened in the story. And that is like the greatest rules of cinema right there. Like the best stories are, that's the rule of thumb in cinema, which is show don't tell, right? Like show, if you want to convey a message and you have something you want to say to an audience, show it through your characters progressing through a story and their actions and
yeah,
their like realization of your message, rather than just having a character, like a lot of bad Bible movies do, where you have the character turn to the camera and just start speaking words and preaching. to the audience,
Yeah.
which is why I that's the main reason why Christian movies I think are infamous for not being that great, is because that's the bottom line right there. That's the greatest rule of cinema: show, don't tell. So like, instead of telling
Yeah.
your audience what you're trying to say, show them. And when you put the pieces together yourself, is so much more impactful for you. Like if I told you, 2 + 2 is 4, you would remember it much better if I said, what is 2 + 2? Like if you have 2 things over here, 2 things over there, put them together, what do they get? And you do it yourself, you're going to remember it much better rather than just me, doing it for you and telling you yourself. So if you put the pieces together yourself and you maybe just have that last step to, finally put it all together in your mind, it sticks out much more and you remember it much better than
Yeah.
just having it told to you, all of it, just laying it out there. So that's, I don't know what I was talking about. I was talking about the stories of Jesus. Yeah. So the parables, this is an idea that started with Jesus, and he just, that concept is one that really has been sticking out to me recently. But his illustrations were very profound. He was a very smart storyteller as well as a preacher. So I thought that's something that I found interesting, very profound in my understanding of the gospel recently. So that's mainly what I've been thinking about a lot recently to answer your question. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, my favorite Bible verse would be the First Corinthians 13, which is without love, I'm nothing but a clean symbol. So
Oh yeah.
that's definitely something that I tend to think about, and it's not only referring to just normal love, like as in brother and sister love, but also the love for God Himself and Jesus, but also love for family and your partner that you're with as well. So there are a lot of ways to perceive it, but mainly it's the love of God without believing in Him, mainly without believing in Him. You're nothing. You're just saying words without any meaning, and that's exactly what you're just saying as well. So it's definitely something that I tend to go towards. So yeah. So what's your favorite chosen episode or episodes? Should I say? So,
Oh, that's a tough question. That's like asking, who's my favorite kid? If I had kids, I wouldn't be able to pick one, obviously. Just kidding. I would definitely pick a favorite. So chosen episodes. I there's a lot of great. I mean, the season finale of season 3, probably right now at this moment in time, it's definitely up there at least, and just it holds special value for me. The whole walking on water thing, and how that transpired. Like, okay, first of all, I'm in the episode that besides that fact, the walking on water mainly is just that was just such a surreal moment for me when I made videos, where I was saying the walking on water. I was like, the walking on water is going to be in season 3. It's going to be I bet it's going to be in season 3 somewhere. I think that they're doing. I'm 99% sure that they're doing the walking on water, and then the Chosen trying to cover it up, and that was really my first like big theory. I saw the little picture of the blue screen from the cinematographer, and I said, that was just my really. It was almost like I don't really like want to like throw this out there, but like throw this around, but it was almost like divine inspiration. Even coming up with that theory, like it was just, I don't know how it came about. I just all of a sudden was I don't know if it 100% came from me, that theory, and just the fact that it ended up being right in the season finale when we are progressing through the thing, and you see the storm and the pieces that are coming together, and I'm like, I can't believe they're doing the walking on water. I can, like, that was just seeing it in the theater also, which I'm a big believer in the theater experience. Definitely, someone who experiencing something like that in a room with other people, being immersed in the story. The theater experience is something that's very sacred to me. So being in the theater, experiencing, the walking on water, which is just such one of the best scenes in the show, in my opinion. Just the ways, everything about, the final episode, it just all comes together so nicely. It's such a satisfying finale. I know it's the biggest finale The Chosen's done thus far. We haven't gotten season 4 yet, or season 6 with the crucifixion. But as of right now, it's the biggest, by far the biggest The Chosen's ever gone, and it was just so very impactful for me. That was just such a special time. So I'll never forget that experience. So probably season 3, episode 8, as of this moment. That might change, but definitely, yeah, that's up there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was actually really surprised when they were doing the walking on water, because it would be one of the hardest things to ever do. You can't sort of just use sort of CGI water around it. I mean, they did, but that was more of a foreground thing. But by using a big pool to be able to portray that and to sort of make it that way, that was really good. The other one I think was really, which was really more inspiring and sort of very touching, was the when he first meets Mary and actually breaks her from the curse. So as far as that was definitely one. I think pretty much every episode has a part that is very meaningful and does actually just tug at your heart. And there's just much to the point of I'm not crying, you're crying, sort of thing. So
I go through whole boxes of tissues every watch through. It's my tissue budget is large for The Chosen.
No, that's sort of the same with me. It's it's definitely it's a definitely good connecting moment, and it's sort of it's like some people can enjoy reading, and it is good to also read the Bible, but it's also good to see the visualization of what we all sort of thought it would look like in the Bible, and with it coming to screen, it is something that only someone with that sort of divine interaction with God to be able to be given, hey, this is the way I want this to be, and to sort of listen to God's words.
Because that's the argument. I'm sure if you've seen, been on the Christian side of social media for more than a few minutes. There's the argument. I have personally a lot of friends, even who they don't watch The Chosen because they don't like, they say no depictions of Jesus or of the Bible, in general, because it's not like Jonathan's not Jesus, it's not the Bible, and I think that's a fair argument to a point, as long as you don't make any judgments on how I should be spending my time. Like, as soon as you start saying, so that means you shouldn't watch The Chosen, then that's where to draw the line. But if you yourself, are just saying you don't want to watch it, that's perfectly fine with me. But like, as humans, right? In my opinion, I mean, God gave us eyes, and obviously, eyes to read, but when you're reading the Bible anyway, what are you doing? I mean, you're picturing the story going on in your head anyway. So to see The Chosen, which is just one guy, or I guess in this case 3 guys, Dallas, and then Ryan and Tyler, the writers, it's like really mostly one guy's interpretation of what he's picturing in his head when he reads the Bible, and also saying, what if this is the events that led up to this particular Bible story, or what if this is what caused this particular Bible story? It's not saying that definitively that's what happened. When they add context and add stuff that's not in the Bible, it's not saying that's definitively what happened. It's saying, but what did happen? And asking that, throwing that question out there, because before The Chosen, I know personally myself, I would read these Bible stories where, Jesus would someone would randomly come up to Jesus, and, he'd heal them, and it's, he's in one city, then all of a sudden Jesus, walked over to this city, and Jesus came over here, and it's just like a lot of the events sometimes, because they are, real people's accountings of the greatest man who's ever lived. There are a lot of times they can be jumbled up or maybe out of order, or that there's contradictions or things that are unclear. So when the chosen goes in and says, what did happen here? What did happen to cause this? That's just something I never thought about when I was reading the stories. It was kind of jumbled up, and it can be a little messy sometimes, but you don't really think about it. You just like read the stories as they are and continue on. Don't really pay any mind to it. So when the chosen is doing something like saying, hey, but what did happen? And posing its own, this is what we think probably happened, but it also probably didn't. And just asking, so then to decide for yourself, is that what you think could have happened? Then what do you think could have happened? And just asking that question, I think, is something that's very healthy, and it just, like, when you watch The Chosen, it makes you want to read your Bible more, because you want to really dissect for yourself and pick apart for yourself. Okay, so then what did happen here? What did cause this? And I think I can't see how anyone could possibly say that is a bad thing. And just the fact that portraying something on screen, I think it's a more visceral way for people to experience the stories of the Bible, to see them acted out on screen, portrayed, because when The Chosen is portraying scripture, things that it is written that Jesus did say, things that it is written that Jesus did do, and they portray them in the show, it is a one-to-one representation of it. It is, every time they're depicting something Jesus actually did, it is exactly how it's told in the Bible. So whatever they add in, it's posing the question, okay, so what did happen to lead up to this? But then when you're seeing it on screen, there's just an extra connection there, I think, as a human, that is very important to have, and really does add a lot to your experience of. And obviously the Bible itself, right, is sufficient for salvation, and The Chosen is not offering salvation. That's not their MO. They're offering, just extra thinking exercises for believers. They're adding, just a way for you to connect with the Bible more than you already have. I do have someone, I believe I know someone who was saved because of The Chosen, not because just The Chosen, but The Chosen piqued their interest. They watched the show and they said, okay, well, what is this Bible thing? They say at the beginning of the show, the first words of the show, they show text on the screen that says historical context, and scenes are added in for cultural context or, creativity, imagination. But, the stories are pulled from the Gospels. And so when you watch the show, the only thing it encourages you to do is go back and read your Bible, which is not a bad thing. I don't think there's a single case of someone who's watched The Chosen and then said, okay, so now I'm done reading my Bible. I don't need it anymore. All I need is this show. This is all I need for the rest of my life. I don't think a single person has done that. If they have, I don't know what to tell you, but God is just, he didn't pick you, like, that's God's will is done in your life if you decided that. But I think there's only a good thing. It's only a healthy thing. If you start picturing Jonathan Rumi in your mind when you're praying to Jesus, then okay, obviously, you need to reorient. Yeah. Maybe you've crossed the line there, but I think that's a very rare occasion. I don't think The Chosen is causing widespread damage, and people are another thing I know people say is, okay, well, it's confusing people on events that actually happened in the Bible and things that didn't. Like, people get confused if they see something in The Chosen, then they'll think, oh, this is what happened in the Bible. Okay, so when The Chosen says at the beginning of the show, things are added in for historical context, and some things in the show are not things that happened in the Bible, I think the only natural human response to that is to say, oh, okay, so let me go read my Bible so I can, see for myself what is real and what is added in. I don't think anyone reads that and then says, okay, so I'm going to take everything in the show as complete 100% fact. This is exactly how it happened. I just don't think that people do that. I really don't. I really don't believe that, and I know I'm not gonna say anything about what anyone else should or shouldn't do. Like, you have to watch The Chosen. It is mandatory for your Christian faith. I'm not gonna say that because when people start saying you shouldn't watch The Chosen, it's mandatory that you shouldn't because it's harmful to your Christian faith. I get upset, so I'm not gonna do the opposite. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite all the time, but I don't see really a lot of the criticism that people put on The Chosen I just think a lot of it is invalid. I really do. And just for me personally, it's really helped me with my faith a lot. It's gotten me a lot closer to God. I think Dallas is a brilliant person, and I think that he has only intentions of good. I also, people who say that he's just in it for the money and stuff, and he's evil. He has made a contract with Satan, and him and Jonathan Rumi are in on some evil plan to destroy the world or something.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what he's gaining out of it, because if it is an evil scheme and he's just totally trying to turn people away and lead people astray from the true gospel, he's very much failing at that, because there are tons of people who are coming to God, coming to the gospel. So whatever evil plan that he's concocted, he is not doing a very good job, I would say. That's just, The Chosen is like, I think 9 times out of 10, it's only doing good. So anyone who says that someone shouldn't watch it, I think is how it goes far as say you're out of your mind to say that. That someone else should not watch the show. So there's my 2 cents on that. Me, who makes money from talking about the show.
Yeah, no, a bit of an irony for all of us, sort of making money for doing things that, Anyway, but
I love this show. I love this show. Anybody who says anything about it is dumb. I don't want you to say anything about it. So I'm like, so as I continue to talk good about it, my bank account is growing. Like, I do feel a little bad sometimes, but you know what? I wasn't making money in the beginning, so like whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same with like, even me. I'm actually at the moment I'm not even making any money, but I'm just doing it because I love being able to talk to other people, being able to get other people's stories from all walks of life, being able to talk about my faith, but also talk about all other different topics that I like Star Wars and gaming and videos and everything. And that sort of thing is the type of that's the kind of thing that I've always wanted to do. And
so you were also bullied in school, I see.
Yeah. I was pretty much, I was bullied a fair bit, but I got to do pretty well in my music career. I got to do started off being a Christian singer, and I got into doing normal, like writing my own lyrics and that. I had a few stumbles along the way, as everyone does. But it's always good to be able to. Well, we need to be broken to be fixed and to be helped by God and Jesus anyway. So that's the way that I see my struggles through life is just showing that I'm human. I make mistakes a lot, and then also I'm not perfect and never will be perfect, because there's only two people that are perfect, which is God and Jesus. So so that's the way. And I did when I was a Christian. With going to church a lot at the time, I remember having a vision of performing live on stage in a big rugby stadium. I thought it could have been the one that was up around at the time when I was thinking about it, but God had other plans, and so I got to perform on stage at the indoor stadium here in New Zealand, which is actually the first first indoor stadium for the southern hemisphere, as far as I'm aware. So cool. That's been a lot of fun, and being able to make a music video that got, I think at the time when I first, within a few weeks, I think it made at least about 20,000 views for one singer. So that was pretty good. And I got to be good friends and with lots of New Zealand musicians throughout my musical career as well. So it was a lot of fun being able to do that. But I was mainly, there were times when I was hurt. I did a few songs, a couple of songs that weren't so probably not so pleasing in God's eyes as far as I'm aware. But then again, I that was sort of my way of expressing at the time. But mainly these days I do sort of music on, and it sort of inspires with like love, faith, hope, happiness. Those are all the things, the sort of the positive sort of music that I like going into, which is it is good because it can help people with any mental issues, whether it's depression. Because music is definitely something that helps us feel, especially listening to Christian music. I tend to listen to In Christ Alone, which Alfie has done a version of, and that sort of helps me feel more grounded and get reacquainted, and that's the way we should see it, is to sort of keep growing and introducing ourselves to God and to Jesus every single day. So that's good, because it's actually helped build our relationship with God and Jesus, but also to be able to reaffirm and our beliefs and thought process as well. So
yeah, I
that's
agree.
the way I see it, and that can go also with every other relationship, whether it's family or relationships itself. So that's what I definitely think is yeah. So that's the way I go through it anyway. But with being in Christianity, and being able to actually, I did have a vision. This was like when I was about, maybe I think it was about 10 years of age. I had well, between 10 and 14, I think, as far as I'm aware. I had a vision where I was at a church, I was singing, and all I thought had a perfect vision of pretty much God, Jesus on the right hand side, God in the middle, and the Holy Spirit on the right, and that sort of was definitely something I connected with, and I sort of it was a weird sort of thing, but then I sort of had a look on Google, as you know, as you usually do, and sort of see other people having those sorts of visions as well, and sort of thinking, okay, at least I'm not crazy, sort of thing. So yeah, so that was a good thing, and I think I've got a few spiritual gifts, like the kind of I think at the time I had the gift of prophecy, and kind of sort of getting at the moment been focusing on going to church and doing YouTube as well, to the point where I sort of need to get back into learning back into that sort of thing as well. But prophecy can have its and good and bad sides sort of things. But the only thing, well, we all don't know is when our time is up, or when the world ends as well, the revelation. So that's the I sort of think that's a good thing that we don't know, because if we knew, we'd be going running around causing a whole lot of panic, and it would be hell on earth, pretty much. It wouldn't be so good.
Yeah, surprise! It's tomorrow too. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So I think it's actually better that we sort of, I mean, the sort of contractions of revelation is happening as we speak, with wars and all that sort of famine, death, and all that sort of stuff. But I'd rather not want to know when the end is actually coming. We
Yeah,
all
no,
sort of have a feeling.
I agree totally. Like, cause I was, I went to McDonald's today. Yeah, my brother and I, we went to McDonald's today. And I decided to get it was an Oreo Frappuccino, I believe. And if I
Yeah,
knew the end times was tomorrow, I was like, would I be getting? Is it a wise idea to get this Frappuccino? Like, so
yeah,
if I knew, I wouldn't have gotten it. But since I don't know, I'm like, I'm free. I'm free to enjoy this right now. I think it just makes life more exciting. Like
yeah,
it's a. I think it's a blessing that we don't know. Yeah.
yeah. It is, and also, I think as far as I'm aware, everything happened for a reason. God laid out our whole life, our whole path of ups and downs, and pretty much a roller coaster ride of emotions and feelings and everything. So
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason. We all connect in different ways, and that's a good thing, to sort of realize that God is wanting us to connect with all of these different people to get their side of the story, to sort of help us connect even closer with Him as well. So I think it's definitely good, and yeah, it is. At the moment, as far as I'm aware, there is still that sort of controversy with Christianity, but as far as I'm aware, it's a great time to be a Christian, being because of different Christian movies being made, as well as TV shows. So uh, it is a special time to be in, and it's not not just being able to sort of be proud of other Christians, but to sort of have more stories to sort of that depict talk about God and Jesus and everything, or the whole all the Bible stories and everything. So it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it's a great exercise. Me personally, I think it's a great exercise. Whenever I watch a movie like Star or like a new secular movie. I
yeah,
watch a lot of secular movies, so it's a fun exercise, to try to bring out the Christian message of it because there's a lot of movies where you sometimes you have to do some heavy lifting, and I have a big imagination, so that's easy for me. But you can really
yeah,
pull a lot of themes from the Bible, themes of salvation and good and bad and all these things. There's a lot of themes every movie. It's not hard. It's not that hard. And when you're talking about The Conjuring or like The Nun, like horror
yeah,
movies, maybe it's a little harder there, but in most movies it's not super hard to pull some Christian messages, Christian themes out of them. It's a fun exercise, and you feel better about yourself when you're watching someone get mauled to death on screen. But then by the end of it, you can try to pull out a Christian message. It does make you feel just a little bit better about yourself. Just saying. So it's for the sake of entertainment. But I think it is a good exercise for Christians to do, and because it can be done. There's so many, things in movies or in stories, just in general, that you can pull out, messages that can bring you closer to your Bible, closer to your relationship with God. So that's something I like to do a lot whenever I watch a movie is say, okay, so what is this movie trying to say just on a basic level, and then how is what the movie's trying to say relate to the Bible, or relate to Jesus, or relate to my Christian faith. It's a fun exercise. It's fun. I should recommend it to any Christian to try it.
oh yeah,
It's a
yeah,
pleasant experience.
yeah. Well, that's the same for me. I mean, the one that I definitely think was really good was the latest, not the latest. It was episode 5 of Ahsoka,
Mm,
where she
yep.
gets to see Anakin in the world between worlds,
Yep. Yep.
and also um, finding out that also the world between worlds was also a book from C.S. Lewis as well. It's Narnia.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It was based off of that I thought that was a very cool detail.
yeah, so that was really cool, and yeah, there was a lot of Christian back stories and sort of teachings, Bible verses that sort of correlate to, well, I think as far as I'm aware, pretty much all of the Ahsoka and Star Wars movies, because George Lucas was a Christian, and his faith was definitely a catalyst, and as well as his children. But yeah, there's so much to sort of delve into with the Ahsoka TV show, and it's a lot of fun to sort of understand the depictions of like the good and evil and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, as far as I'm aware, that sort of there are a lot of Christian teachings that can teach us a lot, not only to be growing closer, but to sort of allow us to read the Bible, or for some other people to also listen to the Bible in audio form to figure out what they're trying to say, and sort of have it all correlate with each other. So it's a lot of fun. It is very educational. Yeah, there are a lot of movies that can sort of have correlations to Christianity. There are like even the Nun, the Exorcist, and all those sorts as well. Even the TV shows Supernatural, or even Big Bang Theory. So there's a lot of and there's even lots of Christians and Jewish people and those shows as well. So it's entertainment, I think, is a good form of getting people closer to God and to the Bible, and to read more, and sort of, if they're new to it, to sort of get their foot in the door, so to speak. So I think that is it is really good. But as we all know, there is also a downside. There's lots of people that just like what we do, what we say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as far as I'm aware, as long as we're doing things in our hearts and for the right reasons, then I don't think we should have any.
Yeah, because like that's the other thing, right? Christians try to put like hard and fast rules on certain things in entertainment when it comes to Christianity. Like everyone should watch this. No one should watch this. Like it's and that's something that a lot of people do a lot of days on the internet with everything. You know, it's black and white, yes and no, up or down. You know, thumbs up. Like yes or no. Like it's always two things are there's some gray areas. There's a lot of nuance to a lot of things. And Christians in entertainment is especially funny to watch because in the Bible there's some particularly gruesome, probably like not just R but NC-17 content, in the Bible. I mean, just like when we're telling our kids the story of Noah's Ark, we're gonna paint a picture of Noah's Ark in your baby's room or something, or and Noah's Ark, the story of God obliterating the planet and murdering millions of people. Yeah, let's tell that for kids. It's in the Bible, so it's holy and it's good, but maybe not. Like there's some things that are or people who commit adultery and send some guy off to be killed so he can be with the guy's wife, like is that necessarily for kids? I don't know. Actually I do know it's not. So so Christians try to put like never watch R-rated movies, never. And it's really like your own personal convictions. That's really what it is. And what I say, like my philosophy in life for a lot of things is with politics or entertainment or just Christian rules and things, never tell me what I should or shouldn't do, right? In a certain sense, like if there's people, if you don't know me, at least, okay, there's a great quote from Christian Bale. It's one of my favorite quotes ever. He says, if you have a problem with me, call me, and if you don't have my number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. I think that's a fantastic quote, and it's just because like for you, to someone who doesn't know me, to say, Eli, you should not watch that R-rated movie. Why are you watching? Like, not that I go around watching a bunch of R-rated movies, by the way. I don't watch like that. I don't. really, but there's a few.
Yeah.
It's like never apply hard and fast rules to a lot of these things. Like trust your own personal convictions. Me as a Christian, I have every right to, look at what it says in the Bible, look at what the Bible condemns, what the Bible supports, and like it doesn't say anything about movies in the Bible. It says things about things that are depicted in movies, what's right and what's wrong. But there's movies where they have violence, people killing people, as depicted as a bad thing, and there's violence and death and murder depicted in the Bible also as a bad thing.
Yeah.
There's things that are sins that are depicted in stories in the Bible that are not supported, and there are things in movies that are depicted on screen that are also not supported. So it really just depends on your personal convictions, because really something that a lot of people don't understand a lot of times is portrayal is not endorsement. So portraying someone doing a bad thing is not endorsing that action. It's showing it on screen is not always saying that it's right. So it's just a lot of your personal convictions. Like there's a lot of talk about the witches or the sorcery and stuff in movies. Like a lot of Christian families don't watch Harry Potter or that kind of thing. I would just say, what about so like, but then they'll show their kids the lion, the witch, and the wardrobe. Just saying, in my personal opinion, like I don't know. And like in Harry Potter, it's like
or even
I'm
Star
not.
Wars as well.
Yes. So Star Wars, like the Night Sisters who were in Ahsoka, the most recent season, like that kind of stuff. When it gets into the sorcery, then it's like, nope, like we can't show this to our kids. But like, like I don't think the kid is gonna go outside and like start practicing. I don't know. And I'm not like a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm not like, if you say anything bad about Harry Potter, like watch out. Like I read all the books and I watched all the movies and I was like, it's good, but like it's not my favorite thing ever. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you shouldn't watch it because it depicts sorcery. Like it's fiction. It's not real. So and even if it is, there's good magic and there's bad magic. Like I don't think it's and any Christian parent is free to do what they want, right? I'm not saying if you don't allow your kids to watch Harry Potter, then you're doing something wrong. Every parent is free, to choose for themselves. But as soon as you start getting into, again, like I always go back to, as soon as you start getting into, you should or shouldn't you do this, because based on what I think, like that's where I draw the line. Like, no, you can do what you want, but you can't enforce anything on me. And a lot of Christians, enforce things on other people. They say, oh, I don't think you're a Christian if you do this or that, and it really just all depends on your personal convictions, I'd say. But really what I mean by that is not like, it's up to you. Like, really do, if you are paying attention to the Bible, if you are reading your Bible, and you are really understanding what God says, and you're making convictions based off of that, it's all up to you who you interpret certain things in the Bible, right? And there's audio. Okay, good. Audio's good. Sorry, my audio cuts out. I do this, I'm a podcaster, but my microphone it always does this, so I think it's good now. But if you ever hear me go out, like that's what that is. But what was I saying? So like Christians, you make your own convictions based off of the Bible, right? But you really do have to read and understand what God is saying. And some things might be interpreted differently for some people, and obviously there's hard interpretations for a lot of the verses. A lot of them are meant to be taken literally. But then in terms of how you apply them to your life, I think there's just a lot of nuance in how people can go about doing that gets neglected a lot in, the Christian world nowadays. So that's just my 2 cents on that one. Especially on the internet, which is a whole different topic. In my opinion, my thoughts on that. Someone who's on the internet a lot is on the internet too much. I see a lot of things that, it's like, people just want to apply 2 options to everything. And there's usually more than 2 sides to a lot of things. There's a lot of nuance, a lot of gray area to most things in life that you encounter. There's not just good people and bad people. There's good people who make mistakes, and there's bad people who do good things sometimes. It's not like it's not black and white. There's a lot of nuance to everything in life. So I think that I'm just saying that gets neglected a lot in the Christian realm when it comes to entertainment. But that's just a 16-year-old kid who thinks he knows everything. So you don't have to listen to me if you don't want to.
I sort of understand that. It's the sort of the same with I think the old teachings do have some weight to it, but it is we are a new generation. We tend to learn either the hard way or we learn from others, or we're sort of in the middle. So I think, as far as I'm aware, we all need to sort of fall over to be able to get back up and to strengthen and everything. So, but it is also good to learn from our elders as well. So,
Yeah,
it's
obviously.
a bit of a grey part to sort of figure out which is which. But one
Well,
that comes
okay,
to
so yeah,
mind.
I would also like to clarify, not just like, someone condemning me, or not condemning, but like just having constructive criticism. Like someone
Yeah,
sees, like I really personally have like someone comes up and is like, I personally have we're coming up on Halloween season, great example. Someone's like, I
yeah,
really am worried, like I really don't want to support Halloween in any way. I don't want to endorse it in any way. Like if you celebrate Halloween, I really would say, me personally, I don't want to. So like
yeah, yeah.
that this is an example. I personally, who doesn't like candy? What? Like, and I don't want to dress up. So like, um, I still do. So like for someone
Do it at home if you
it
want.
yeah, yeah. I'm going to dress up for my harvest festival at my church this year. It is the same thing. It is the same thing as a Halloween celebration. It is just a different name.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
it's like someone who's like, I don't support Halloween. Okay, great. And it just depends on where it's coming from. Okay, so if you're coming to me with constructive criticism, but it's with the intent of like picking apart every action that I do and making assumptions based on my actions as to who I am, then I'm not going
Yeah,
to listen to you. And I don't think I should listen to you, or not just me personally, but anyone who is faced with that situation. But if you are coming out with from a place of love and a place of caring for someone, to where you're saying, okay, I see this behavior in someone that I don't think is right, so let me come to them and ask them about it and what their intentions are, what their motivations are, what their convictions are, where they're getting this idea from, then that, okay, obviously is, I have no problem with that, and I'm happy to have that constructive, rational, reasonable conversation, because any rational human, when someone comes and says, I think you're doing this wrong, okay, so then you should do a self-examination. You should do an inventory and say, okay, well, or why would this person have thought that? Don't look for ways that you aren't doing what they said. Look for ways you are doing what they said, and what they're
yeah,
accusing you of. And so if someone is coming out of a place of love and genuinely, is worried about me, then obviously I think you are inclined to listen to that person and to hear what they're saying and to have that conversation with them. Don't just brush them off. So I would say it does depend on where it's coming from. Not just saying like, if anyone criticizes you, don't listen to them, because it's all about you and what do you think. Like, that's not what I'm saying.
yeah,
Uh, and anyone who would see that as like a few seconds of what I said, take that and be okay, so that's what Eli believes, and he's a terrible person. Like, okay, so then
yeah,
also listen to all of what I have to say as well. That is the other aspect to it as well. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I guess it's also the whole point of know me before you judge me, but also is it know thyself as well. So there's a whole lot of context to it. So I think, yeah, I understand that as well. I tend to not go to do the whole Halloween thing. I don't see any point in it. It's just
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
corporate mean to make some money, but everyone has to
Yeah,
live somehow, I guess.
obviously.
So,
Like, yeah,
but as far as I'm aware, that I, but there are lots of things that I do as well. Like I watch, like sometimes watching horror movies, but I sometimes don't. And it just based on my preference and the way that I think about things, sort of thinking whether there's a correlation to Christianity. Does it have some sort of meaning that is sort of more towards the good rather than the bad? And that's the way that I sort of go through things. But everyone has their own choice. We're all given we all were given the choice to choose whatever we want to do.
right. Yes.
And so I think, yeah, those who sort of like old people, like lots of other people still saying, "Oh, you're going to hell for this." It's like, well, you can't sort of judge that. So it's not the way to say it. But if there's a sort of a discussion on certain things, or a constructive criticism with the good and the bad rather than just negative, then that's good. But also, yeah, I do cross the line as well with people where they say, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. So this is my choice, this is my body, this is the way I choose. That is the way. So,
this is the way.
So that's the way that I sort of go about my life. It's sort of like the Mandalorian with this is the way. So it's a lot of there are a lot of it's not really black and white. So there's a whole lot of different color as well. So it just depends on the way we perceive things and the way we interact to go through that sort of thing. So yeah. Have you seen the recent other movie, Nefarious?
I haven't seen Nefarious yet. I hear people talk about it. I have not seen it yet. I do. Where do you watch it?
I tend to watch. I tend to pay for it and then be able to download it. I think we can do that on YouTube, Amazon. I think there are some other sites as well.
Okay.
But or for other people, they just download it anyway. Or streaming sites. I think there are some streaming sites as well. So that's right. But yeah, Nefarious is a really good movie. It is. It's not your average movie or Christian movie for that matter. It is written by Christian guys as well, but it's really good. It's got a good take on it. Got a good take on what the devil is thinking and perceiving, and it's a lot of fun. But it also can be due to there are lots of other implications. Could be just normal mental disabilities and things like that as well. But it is a really good movie for Christians to be able to sort of see, hey, this is what you shouldn't be doing, sort of delving into that thing, because then this can pull you in and sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it does have a good story of actually, I don't think it has a good ending. I think it's it sort of does have a good ending, but sort of a not so good ending. So yeah, there's a bit of an entendre and sort of a parable to the movie as well. So it's I guess it's the way whatever you perceive it really.
Because that's another thing. That's not one of those hard and fast rules that Christians try to put on the entertainment spaces. No horror movies. Like, no, never. Like, if you watch horror movies, you are a bad person. Like, it's just not that simple. I think that there's, horror movie. Like, just because it's labeled as a horror movie doesn't mean it's associated with some of the worst ones in the genre that can be, criticized, of maybe depicting things that, or supporting things. There are some horror movies that do support, like they're not just portraying, they are endorsing behavior or things that are condemned in the Bible. So therefore, okay, so yeah, then obviously you shouldn't watch that. But then it's a movie by movie basis, because there is a lot of nuance. But Christians do try to put on no horror movies. And I think the art of building suspense in someone, building that this feeling of fear when you're just sitting watching a movie on a screen. I think the talent and the ability to be able to do that, mixing the visuals and the music and the events happening, like the fact that you're on the edge of your seat right now, the fact that you're so scared and so it's sucked into the movie, waiting to see what's going to happen next, like that's something that shows that you're invested in the story. That means the movie has done a great job of pulling you in and has done some great writing and created some great interesting events to where you've been pulled into this world, into this story, and you're following along and you're really invested in what's happening. I think that's a gift and a talent of the talent of storytelling and filmmaking, obviously, but something that only comes from God, in my opinion. So the ability to create these emotions and stir up feelings in people when you're just showing them pictures moving on a screen like that, the ability to mix music and sound and acting and direction and all, and to create this, experience that's manipulating people's emotions and creating these reactions, generating reactions out of people. That's a talent that it just comes from one place, I believe. I don't think that's from the devil. Everything's demonic nowadays. Everything's from the devil. I saw someone who was talking about recently Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker in Joker, the movie. And he was talking about, like, he was played a clip from an interview of the Joe Rogan podcast where someone was like, Joaquin Phoenix, even when the cameras were off, he was still intense and he was totally in character, and like he was really, really good at, he was still super convincing as the Joker. And the person who was making this video was saying, does this seem demonic to everyone else? Like, I think this is demonic that this is happening. And I was like, no, I think that's just good acting. Like, I think him being convincing in the role is not a sign of demonic possession. I think that's just Joaquin Phoenix being a good actor. Everything is from the devil. Everything is, this is demonic. This is like, I don't try to put those titles on things personally. If I'm watching a dog get hit by a car and all of a sudden the dog springs back to life and starts charging at me and attacking me, maybe then I'll say that is demonic, because that's a freak of nature right there. But I first of all haven't seen that happen yet, and I haven't heard of that happening yet, so I just don't. I would call that demonic. But other than that, like there's things that I think are work of the devil, obviously, because the devil's he's the ruler of this world, as the Bible describes. He's always prowling around. He's always working in opposition to God and causing chaos. So obviously there are signs of the work of the devil, but I just don't think that there's demonic possession going on, or like and always also as well talking about artists selling their souls. And like I saw this one video as well as someone who was like, here is the Weeknd before and after, and it was like a picture of him looking nice and then a picture of him looking all sick and evil, and it's like, here's Miley Cyrus before and here's them after. I'm like, before and after what? And then someone replied to me in the comments, was like, before they sold their soul to the devil. And like, I didn't know that was an option. Like, do you sign up for that, or do you, like, is it a website or something? Like, I didn't know that this is something like, okay, so going down a path of sin. Okay, I guess that would be what they did, is they're not saying Christians. Okay, there you go. Like, it's these artists are not saved. They're not Christians, right? So they're obviously they're lost. They don't know. They have no hope as of this moment. They haven't turned to Jesus and given their life to Him. So they are going to do things that are sinful, and Christians do things that are sinful too. But I just like the whole selling their souls. This is demonic. This is demonic possession. There's a lot of things the other Christians try to put on as well. And bottom line of the story is, you should be able to watch whatever horror movies you want. That was really what I was trying to say with all of that I just said. That was the bottom line. But yeah, so all of that to say, bottom line is hard and fast rules. I just don't think a lot of the hard and fast, yes or no rules that people try to put on things, I don't think are very accurate a lot of times. So, and that's a hard and fast thing that I'm saying. An absolute, like, I don't believe in absolute. I would not say I don't believe in absolutes. There are absolutes, I think, and for me to say everyone who says those things is wrong, that is an absolute. So only a Sith deals in absolutes. So and that was absolutely what I'm saying. So a lot of people who say that a lot of times are wrong, or I think sometimes are wrong. Like, there's nuance. So I have to believe a believer in what I'm saying. So
no, I'm definitely understand that as well. There are a lot of there's as the way I see it is just the way you perceive it is, if you perceive that it's not so good, then that's your choice. If you perceive that it's the way we perceive things. If someone says jump off the cliff, would you do it, sort of thing? You sort of need to take it into your own yourself, and sort of and all that sort of stuff. So that's the way I see it. it's just up to us whatever we choose, and if others think different, then that's okay. That's the way they perceive, and
It's healthy.
we
It's
we
healthy.
are yeah, exactly, yeah. None of us are to judge. We should be, well, but then again we do judge as well. But that's a big part of being human. We have that flaw of the having that in a critic that sort of jumps to conclusions rather than, and then we're like, oh, okay, we shouldn't be thinking this. This is what we should be
Yeah.
thinking,
No, it's
and
good.
doing the
Yeah,
same.
keeps you accountable. I always say, if there's a group of people or a community of people who all think the same way and agree on everything, there's something wrong there. There's something not right about that. Like I saw a video on Instagram. I see a lot of videos on Instagram. I spend too much time on it, but like I saw this video. It was like about a cup of water or something, and I was like, okay, this is
Yeah.
nice. I'm sure people won't be arguing about this. I opened the comments and it's a glass of water, not a cup of water. Like, so I was, there you go. We're back. Yeah, this is natural human behavior. So I think
Yeah.
disagreement is healthy. It's healthy to disagree. If you surround yourself with people who only think exactly the same way you do, I think that is terrible for you as a person. I think that is wrong. That is just,
Yeah.
that's bad. You're never
Oh
going to be
yeah.
held accountable for
Exactly.
everything. You're never going to be challenged on your beliefs. I have friends. Some of my closest friends are people who I fundamentally disagree with on a lot of things, and
Yeah.
we have so much fun together. We'll go to the beach, or we'll just like drive around. We have meals together. We eat. We spend so much time talking. I have so much fun with these people, and we disagree on a lot of things. We disagree with and are different in more ways than we're the same, and we agree on things. And those are my favorite people in my life. It's because you're constantly being held accountable. You're constantly being checked. You're constantly being you're having to examine yourself. Okay, is what I believe right? Have I been acting right recently? Is there things I'm doing in line with the Bible, in line with Scripture, in line with my own personal moral beliefs? And I think that's extremely healthy for any human being. I think you should never be in a position where you're with people who think exactly the same as you. I think that's wrong. I think it's healthy to have people that disagree in your life.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's the sort of that goes to, with any relationship that if you have people that think the same and do the same as you, it's just going to be very boring. So
That's
you've got to
that's
have,
called a robot society.
yeah, exactly. So it's good to have different people from different walks of life that have different thoughts about and perceive things differently than you do. It's good. It's the same with my brother. I tend to bump heads on a few things, but we still we're still brothers and we still hang out with each other and all that. So that's the way of life. We you've got to have that sort of got to have a little bit of entertainment, so to speak. It's something to sort of get you on your toes and all that. So it's a lot of life would be, but also life would be a very boring without entertainment, artists, musicians.
Yeah.
Without all of that stuff, I think it would make the world a very dull place to live. And we've got to have. I mean, it's not good that we have wars and death, but that is part of our. Sometimes it can be for someone's path to be in that path, and we all are supposed to move on from our physical form. So, it's it's like I said, just based on our way we perceive things, and as we all know that, and it goes for movies and music and everything, that good always overpowers evil, and love always overpowers hate. So,
Yes.
but there always has to be a good and a bad, whether it's loving something, hating something, liking something, disliking something, um, uh, and and also with life and death. So that's also the good and the bad. So
Yeah, yeah.
so there are lots of things for that. So yeah, pretty much it, really. So just another question. What was the process of getting into being an extra in The Chosen?
So The Chosen, they did a thing where they allowed any, fan who wanted to, you could buy a ticket and reserve your spot and fly yourself out to Dallas, Texas to be an extra in the show. And you get to be on set and filming. And, of course, my family and I, we were like, we got to do that because The Chosen is such a huge part of our lives. And, to be an extra in the Feeding the 5,000. I've got this podcast. At that point, my podcast has been running for a few months, I think. I don't know if it's been running for a year yet, but I think almost 1 year at that point. And I was like, I've got this podcast, like with this YouTube channel that I just started at that time. I just started the YouTube channel, and I was thinking, we have to be there for the Feeding the 5,000. So we flew out to Texas, and that was my first time meeting Dallas Jenkins in person. And he's so nice. So like he gets accused all the time of being prideful. Dallas has got a big ego. He loves to talk all the time, and he's just like amongst people who I know personally, and just the fact that Dallas after the day of filming, we were long day from sunrise to sunset, just filming all day with 5,000 people who we had to entertain. He had to feed all these people. Like we were fed lunch at the Feeding of the 5,000, and he had to, keep them and, entertain them and keep them there the whole day. It's just such a big thing. Dallas, after all, the whole day of filming, he stayed and for hours afterwards. Everyone was so tired. He stayed probably past midnight that night, just standing in, there was a line, fans could come and get a picture with him and say something to him. And just that, like, he just did that.
Yeah.
Like, that is just so. Oh, my video.
Well, yeah.
Might be my camera here.
Might be over here or something.
No, I think it's me. Sorry. I'll just have to do that. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there I am. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, okay. So, so I think, the fact that Dallas was humble enough, stood out there, did that for hours. I mean, that's just something I'll never forget. That is so humble. That is so awesome. He is just, he's I think he's very, very humble person, very grateful for all the love and outpour of support from the fans, and he's just I think he's a great guy. So, and the Feeding of the 5,000 experience was, it was incredible, an unforgettable experience. You get to be part of this filming, be an extra. You know yourself, being an extra is just, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Because you get to tell all your friends, I was there, and it's the Feeding of the 5,000 was definitely unforgettable experience. It was so hot. It was, they were rolling, they would film the little bit for a few minutes or whatever, however long they're filming, and as soon as they said cut, they had to get people to run out into the crowd of the Feeding the 5,000 and just throw water to people, and as soon as the cameras were off, people were fainting and having to be carried off, to Medicare, like they needed medical attention and stuff. Like it was so hot. People, it was terrible. Like as soon as the cameras cut, people were like barfing and throwing up, and it was like there was this kid right behind us who just threw up on the floor because he's so it was terrible, but it was awesome. Because I myself did not experience any health disadvantages, so it was just such a cool experience, because you have to be a part of this thing that's changing so many lives for the better. It's so awesome. I mean, it's just, I'm so happy to get to say that I was a part of that. I get to say that for the rest of my life. So.
Yeah. No, that's the same with me as well. With being in the Lord of the Rings movies and being part of one of the biggest movies of all time. One of the biggest, not the biggest, but yeah, one of the biggest movies of all time, and movie trilogy, I should say, of all time. So it's a lot of fun being into that, and it's not the money or being okay, being fed probably good to be fed, but it wasn't the main thing. For me, I think it was mainly just being able to meet other people, being able to be part of something bigger than myself,
Right.
and to be able to see from other people, like even from God's eyes, that I'm just like a speck of sand and a whole lot of stick of dust or grain of sand on this beach, so to speak. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. It was a very humble sort of thing. Um,
Yeah.
and being able to talk about it and be able to remember have something to remember for the rest of my life is really good.
Yeah.
But sort of that would be the same for you as well, to be able to. It was just more being able to be there for the moment, meet others, and
Yeah.
to have new experience. So that's a lot of fun for that. Was there just a normal casting call, or did you have to be part of an agency, or was it just word of mouth
No, it
from?
was just it was not even it was just, any chosen fan, any random schmo off the street could come and be an extra. That's
Yeah,
kind of how the chosen rolls, like that's kind of their shtick
yeah,
is, just being, they're crowdfunded, they're very open with their fans, they have so that's that. There was no like I was not a SAG extra, SAG or whatever the agency is. No agency, no
yeah,
representation. I am off the grid.
yeah, yeah. That's the same with me as well. I don't see any point in having any representation. It's just stuff like it. So yeah, so it's not too bad. And I think I said something in my head and it's just gone right out. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun being able to be. Are you going to be in the show as an extra again, or do you think there'll be other times that you'll
There
do
was
it
an
again, or
opportunity. There was an opportunity this past July. They were filming, and I was set to be an extra again, but I was
yeah?
unfortunately not old enough. I'm 16, and you had to be over 18 because of child. It was like child labor laws or something.
Oh, really?
So I was actually unable to be,
Yeah,
but then I just got to visit the set, which was awesome as well.
yeah.
So I don't know if they've said they'd have any more opportunities planned. I think, well, after defeating the 5,000, they said they would never do something like that again. And then they
Yeah.
did this past for I think it's Palm Sunday that they filmed, and they said they would never do
Oh
anything
no.
again after that. So, but you never know. Like, I'm hoping for
Yeah,
season 5
yeah.
there will be another chance for me to
Of
reprise my
course.
role.
Yeah. I guess even with the last with the crucifixion of theirs, that's definitely gonna need a whole lot of people as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's true.
and I think there are lots of other Bible stories that, of course, Dallas probably will be doing that will need more than just 20 or 30 people. So, but then again, it's all just first and first serve sort of thing. But I do think that Dallas is definitely very humble. He even puts his show on an app that is free.
Yeah,
What?
free,
It
free,
doesn't
exactly.
charge.
Yeah.
So and the same with his donation with ask he doesn't ask for donations, but he says if you want to, this is what you can do. Go to this.
Yeah, yeah,
That.
yeah, yeah.
So it's not. Of course, we all sort of what do you call sort of advertise ourselves, and if you want to do that, you can do this, but you don't have to. You still get to watch me talking on a podcast or on a show on YouTube for free.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, it's just the way we perceive things, and for the other people thinking that it's bad and all that sort of stuff. they can think that, but we all know what the truth is. So, and yeah, we probably do think that the ones that think differently might be crazy, but we're all crazy ourselves. We all have these thoughts and everything. So I think it's just a normal thing, and we're just human. We all fail and think
Yeah.
things and all that. So we are what we are, and uh, God thinks that we're different and sort of perceives us differently. So He is the only judge and executioner that we give our life to. So yeah, so that's pretty sweet. And I think one last thing. Um, oh, no, no, let's just pop down my head. So, actually, yes. Are there any games that you enjoy playing, or whether it's phone or computer
Oh,
or anything?
you mean video games?
Yeah,
I I'm not an avid gamer. I don't have a lot of time for it nowadays. But as a game, I do really enjoy. I can think of one immediately off the top of my head is Marvel Spider-Man, the Insomniac game, Spider-Man PS4, PS5. The Marvel Spider-Man 2 is coming
oh
out
yeah, yeah,
in 2 weeks.
yeah,
Um, that game, that's one that's really impactful for me because the gameplay is sweet, is super innovative and awesome, and what really at the heart of it is the storyline is incredible. Just if I'm playing a video game, it would be a first person, story driven video game because that it's another way to experience a story that someone has written, right? And because you're making the action, you're doing the actions yourself, and you get to have fun doing it as well. I think God wants us to have fun, and I think
yeah,
that video games is a way to you kind of unwind. You can just you're not really doing anything super like is later down the line. How is this going to help me? I don't know, but it's fun, and I think that's something that is a gift from God as well. So definitely the Spider-Man game, that would be one off the top of my head, just as a Marvel nerd, and so those
yeah.
games are super super fun. I love them. Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I like my games would be Star Wars, of course. Star Wars games are
Oh
pretty good.
yeah, true. Yeah.
Um, but also the first game that I got interested in was actually Sonic the Hedgehog. So that was pretty cool. Um,
Oh yeah, I love Sonic the Hedgehog too. Yeah.
yeah, so that was pretty cool. Also Need for Speed because it's a lot of driving and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you like
it's
fast
really
things
good.
then? You like to move quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Even like Rogue Squadron was a good game to play as
Yeah.
well. Sort of piloting and be able to have to do quick maneuvers to be able to sort of do that sort of thing. But also, I have played the odd Harry Potter game, like what's the one that came out. Harry Potter, what was it? Hogwarts Legacy. That wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Well, that sort of has a good and bad sort of storyline as well, with the good
Yeah.
and versus evil and all that. So yeah, so that's not too bad. And what else have I been? Oh, I've been also playing Starfield, which is one of the
Excuse me.
latest Xbox. This is, um, yeah, one of the Xbox games. So that game is actually pretty good as well. It has sort of a sort of religion sort of baseline for Christian sort of implements and all that as well. So I tend to go sort of what I perceive as sort of good, but it's also I think as far as science goes, that actually playing video games is good because it actually helps us with our cognitive ability, but also to sort of help lower the risk of Alzheimer's. So,
Oh yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so it's good to sort of do that sort of thing. Um, So, but it sort of just goes with how many hours you want to play certain games, and
Yeah.
but you got to have a balanced life of everything really. So with your work
Yeah.
life, with your life with Jesus, life with your family and friends,
Yep.
pretty much anything and everything. So it's not a whole lot to do, and we do tend to burn ourselves out from time to time, but as long as we um, uh, do whatever we can to sort of help with our physical form, it's good, which is the temple, our temple. So that as long as we, yeah, it's all balancing with relaxation and everything else. So it's a lot of fun. I do love the Marvel games as well. I think the one I liked was the it was mainly the Spider-Man, but also the Iron Man one as well. Those ones were pretty good as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Um, the Avengers one based, I think that one that's based, the recent one that's based on the comic. It, I don't know. Their story, there are some storylines in it as well, but
Yeah, that wasn't that great.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't the best, but oh well. We can't do much. But each their own, and but it is good for us to have that other form of entertainment as well to sort of make helps us sort of have something to like, or even anything that's stressful, we can sort of zone out and to playing that sort of game, those sorts of games and all that. So it's another good form of distraction. It's all, well, everything is distraction. So yeah, so it's not too bad at all. So I think that's all anything else that you want to talk about, or
Um, any final thoughts from me? Uh,
yeah,
I would say any final advice. My most important tip of advice for anyone out there, anyone in the universe on planet Earth who is a living, breathing human being, I would say my biggest advice to anyone would be never date a YouTuber. That's what I would say. We are socially awkward. We are obsessive.
yeah,
We are weird. Like we didn't get along with the people in our life in real life, so we turn to a camera and we turn to fake people who we don't know. I mean, they're real people, but we don't know them. It's a fake relationship, in my
yeah,
opinion, on the internet. So we're deranged. We're mentally unstable. And if you ever find yourself encountering a YouTuber in the real world, I would say steer clear. That's not a relationship you want to pursue. And we're weird. We are just not someone you wanna be around. So that would be my advice to anyone out there. That's always my two
fair enough.
cents.
And what are the ways that everyone can follow you? What media platforms can find you on?
You can follow me on Instagram. I have two accounts. Officially Against the Current is one, and the real Eli Hollingsworth is the other. You can follow me on there. The real Eli Hollingsworth, I talk more about just any movies and fandoms and nerdy stuff in general. Against the Current is obviously where you can find all of my chosen stuff. On YouTube, I have Against the Current podcast. You can search that up on YouTube, and the real Eli Hollingsworth on YouTube as well. I don't know. I mean, you can follow me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, but you know, who uses Facebook, So I guess you can follow me
Yeah,
there. Eli. I think that's all my social media. I don't think I have anything else, as far as I know, unless someone has made something without my knowledge, which I would hope not, but you never know.
sure.
So,
Oh, we should definitely, yeah, it was great talking to you, and I definitely think we should have a touch base and maybe have another chat further down the track
oh
from the show.
yeah, sure, I'd love that. Yeah, thank
Catch
you so
up
much
on
for having me
the,
on, by the way.
yeah, thank you. Also to be able to catch up on the latest um, the Chosen gossip and all that sort of
Yeah,
updates.
yeah,
All that
yeah.
stuff. So that'll be really good. But yeah, well, thank you very much for being on the show, and I will yeah, we'll definitely touch base later on.
And thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Thanks.